between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. is very, very critical. So what we say is, please be aware of, when you cross roads. All right. Okay, so we're also now making you aware of the impact of the speed. Hit at 40 kilometers an hour, the chances of survival is 75%. When the same thing, if you're hit at 50 kilometers an hour, the chances of survival is 45%, and hit at 60 kilometers, survival is 15% chances. Okay, next. What makes older people more vulnerable? Changes you may notice. We all, there's a change as we get older. One is we start misjudging the speed of a car. That can happen to anyone, right? There's confusion or anxiety. You may have left your home in the morning. There's so many things worrying you. You're not concentrating on the road. So that's one of the other causes as well. Eyesight also, changes in eyesight. So it is very important that you check your eyesight regularly with your optometrist or your ophthalmologist. Hearing का भी आपको ये भी दिक्कत हो जाएगा, क्योंकि क्या होता है, if you don't check up on a regular basis, anything can happen within a couple of days. So it is very important. You may not hear the car going past, or you may think there's nothing, and then you try and cross the road. So it's very important. So these are the changes that can happen, that can impair or cause accidents on the road. We also have ability to turn ahead. If you can't see what's happening, वो भी एक कारण हो सकता है. Or slow movements as we are all aging, the movements also can become slower. So please, this is an awareness program, that's all. Okay, changes to your health. So good vision. Vision deteriorates after the age of 40. So poor vision can make it difficult to see vehicles, traffic signs, and road hazards. So it's not only at the age of 40. These are all based on the survey and research that is done by these Transport New South Wales. Good hearing, respond to warning signals like horns and sirens, reversing signals in driveways. ये भी बहुत important है. When you're crossing and there's a house, ये होता है, सबको होता है. And if a car is reversing, so you have to be very, very careful. If you can't hear you or you don't see, sight आपको खराब है, तो it can lead into accident, which we want to avoid. दूसरी है problem solving and memory, monitoring the road, responding to unexpected situations, and making safe decisions. That is another important factor as well. Strength, flexibility, and movement. It may take longer to get out of the way of a vehicle on the road. It may also take longer to cross the roads. As your health, you have problems with your health due to age, so that can be one of the factors as well. So next one, thank you. ये आप देखें, every one of us is familiar with this unsafe pedestrian behavior. जहाँ पे there's no crossing, we want to take the shortest cut. We all do that. तो ये आप please, this is a very, very dangerous sign. तो आप थोड़ा ध्यान दीजिए इसको. You should not cross. Try and cross wherever there is a pedestrian crossing. Very clearly marked. If there are signals and lights, do not try, and because your movements will not be 20 years ago. Things can change. You can trip. You may lose balance. So that is very important. So that try and avoid that crossing if there's no pedestrian crossing, or just because you think there's no cars coming. The cars can come. They're very fast. On the roads here, so you have to be very careful. Yeah. Next one.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
If there is a divider line is not there, then we can cross. There is a divider line on the roads, main roads.
Yes.
But on the smaller roads, they are not there.
Yeah.
Residential or whatever.
Yeah. Look,
there we can cross in the middle.
yeah. We'll come to that if you don't mind in the last session. Yeah. Okay. Unsafe places to cross. आपको ये भी है. There's two lanes there, and there's a divider there in the middle as well. That's a no-go zone. You shouldn't be crossing Okay? Yeah, next one, please. Walking safely and crossing the road. Use pedestrian and traffic light crossing. That is for everyone. Never assume a driver can see you. Make eye contact with the drivers. Wait for the vehicles to stop completely. Use the footpath and wear bright colors so that the driver can, visualize. Depending on whether it's night or in the morning, so aapko thoda you have to be very careful. Walking safely and crossing the road. Take the shortest route. Bicycles are the menace. We hear sometimes bicycles aa jate hain, you don't even know where they're coming from. Watch out for bicycle riders. Check for turning vehicles and consider your mobility. Buses, trucks and trams. Buses and trucks have larger blind spot, which means the driver may not be able to see you. Large vehicles take longer to stop than other vehicles because of the size and weight. Take extra care when walking near or crossing roads used by these types of vehicles. Do not assume that the driver has seen you. Cross only at the designated pedestrian crossing. So, bade vehicles they get very upset, because a lot of cars also go in front of them because they take a longer time to stop. So same thing happens. You have to be very careful when the roads are used by big buses and trailers and all that. So just please be cautious there. Okay, next, thank you. Okay, wait for the bus. So when you see big buses coming, wait for the buses and find a safe place to stop. Avoid crossing at the front or back of buses on large vehicles because there's a blind spot. The driver may not be able to see you. So we've read in newspapers, even when they're reversing back because of a blind spot. I think recently a child was squashed. It happens once in so you have to be very careful. The blind spot with big buses and the four-wheel drive, they can't see sometimes. So try and avoid being behind a reversing vehicle or don't be distracted. Mobile phone is a very important thing. हर एक का ये होता है, तो आप please when you are crossing the road आप concentrate कीजिए. Mobile phone is a big distraction. And headphones. Always look out before you step out. Plan ahead so you're not rushing to catch the bus station. ये भी होता है, सबको होता है. अरे लेट हो गया, चलो ये आप थोड़ा वहाँ पे सावधान होना चाहिए. Stand back from the curb while you're waiting at all bus stops. So curb होता है, so you just wait rather than near the road or on the road. This is a no-go zone. Thank you. Okay, other hazards to look for is uneven or cracked footpaths. ये भी बहुत dangerous है. आपको इसलिए you have to be very careful when you're walking because sometimes खड्डा होता है उधर. The footpath may be uneven. You may fall. What we're trying to do is make you aware so that you minimize your injuries. Prevention is better than cure. Slippery or wet surface, बारिश में या कभी-कभी there is moss gathered at some areas, so you have to be very, very careful with that. Driveways where cars enter and exit, यहाँ पे भी आपको थोड़ा ध्यान देना पड़ेगा. Curbs and ramps. Tips: use quieter streets, pedestrian crossings, and footpath. That you have to religiously understand that. Try not to cross anywhere else other than pedestrian crossings and footpaths. Wear flat, comfortable shoes. That can also affect you. अगर कुछ खड्डा हो गया,
And dry leaves.
Yes,
Dry
yes,
leaves.
yes.
Very slippery on the.
Absolutely. We are not aware of all this, but once this program will be making everyone aware of that. These could be a factor that could, can have injuries or whatever. So you have to be safe. Wear a hat and sunglasses. Summer can be very hot here. The sun can be very, very strong as well. So अगर आपको, if you can wear sunglasses or hats or जो भी है, safety for you is paramount, number one. Whether you look ridiculous or you look very nice, don't worry about that. But that is very important. Safety. Taking a walking stick, I see there are lot of people, elderly people or seniors, जहाँ पे उनका balance नहीं है. and they have been advised by doctors, GPs to use a walking stick. So कृपया करके आप please use it. Don't think नहीं कुछ नहीं होने वाला है मेरे को, because वो जो आप सोचते हैं ना उसी टाइम होता है. Murphy's law, you know. So it's better always use, if you're being asked to wear a, use a walking stick, please, you have to use a walking stick. There's no shortcuts for that. Okay. Okay, the other thing, plan ahead. Give plenty of time before, if you've got an appointment or you're catching or you're dropping off, plan ahead so that you don't get into rush situation. Thanks. Crossing at the lights. Many sets of traffic lights have signals for pedestrians to help them cross safely. You should press the button. अगर कोई नहीं है and वो लाल बत्ती है, you should press the button and wait for the green walk signal before crossing. So you don't have to worry about अगर कोई नहीं है and you're going to cross, and if it's you can press the green, that will activate. All right, so that it'll. Remember, when you're waiting at traffic lights across the road, make sure all vehicles have stopped and are clear of the crossing before you step out. Okay, pedestrian crossing, zebra crossings. Driver must slow down and stop when a pedestrian steps on a marked crossing. Some drivers may not stop for pedestrians, so wait until all vehicles have stopped before you start to cross. This is a big problem in Australia as well. Even though you are aware that zebra crossing जहाँ पे है, the driver has to stop for you, but what we call is as defensive walking. आप ये मत assume मत करो. कभी-कभी they are driving. We all have experience,
हालांकि राइट तो पेडेस्ट्रियन का है वहाँ, जहाँ पे ये साइन लगा हुआ है.
Correct.
But not enforce your right.
हाँ.
गाड़ी आ रही है तो it is your responsibility.
Yes,
Wait for it.
exactly.
मतलब ये है.
We assume नहीं
ये वो रोकेगा ही.
he has to stop.
हाँ, ये
Some idiots are there. There's plenty of them here.
पता नहीं वो कहाँ कैसे जा रहा है.
या नशे में हो सकता है, ड्रग में हो सकता है. Yes, so you have to, it's called defensive crossing, as we call it. Wait till it's gone, or you can make out the speed. Sometimes because of the senior, your sight, you may think, oh, बहुत दूर है. But it's just I can cross, even though you have the right to cross at a zebra crossing. But be careful. That's all. You have to be very defensive. Make sure that you look around and see that you can wait for 1 minute. क्या होता है? You're not going to lose. Let them go, and then because I see sometimes it's very dangerous. Some people don't know क्या हो गया.